Alright guys, so just a bit of an update here. We can see some corns coming through, the beans that we've planted starting to come through. Not a lot of corn popped up in this section, but as we move to this middle section, we see that pretty much all of the corn popped up. In this middle section is where we sprinkled all that chicken feed on top, so it's definitely worked a treat. We've got some more beans coming up here, we've got some kales coming up here, some more kale coming up here and here. So we've got all our seeds coming up on the outside. That citrus isn't doing too well, probably need to replace that one. We've got purple tomato plugs, we've plugged in the gaps. We've got our papayas. Our cuttings of Tulsi basil have really come up. More tomatoes, papaya, tomato, banana. The bananas are sinking all the energy back into the soil, and that one over there is starting to come out, but they'll come out in their own time. Just done a little bit of brush cutting along the edges. Just got to rake it into the edge of the bed and prepare those. Other than that, everything's looking pretty good considering. So if we come down the bottom side, we can have a look at what's happening down here. I've planted some sweet potato as well in this last little third. Another little bit of sweet potato coming through. Just laid the vine out, gently buried it over. This rain's been beautiful. And so we got some more lettuces coming up in these holes now. We got a bit of lettuce in there, some more lettuce coming up here. A bit of lettuce coming up there. A bit of lettuce coming up through there with the corn. That corn, yes, that's actually part of our system. Corn rows, so that's looking good. We did have some moringas popping up. I think they were, here we go, here's one. So the moringa has started to pop up. That's right next to the citrus. So overall pretty happy with the germination and what's happening and survival rate. It's only really that citrus there that's not looking too good. I don't think it was very good when we put it in anyway. You can see the cover crops. If you just drop these cover crops, they'll come up. There's some basil coming up. Some more basil coming up. So there, beautiful. Some more just starting down here. Just free him up a little, make sure he has some room to move. Some cover crops that we planted, the sun hemp that we planted around the papayas, give them some shade coming up. Other than that, everything's looking pretty good. Some more basil. So at this point, we're just wanting to look over the bed, see what's happening. Remember what we planted. Let's dig in here. Try not to dig in our holes where germination's occurring. And let's just have a look at what's happening with the potatoes if we can find them. They should be just kicking out some roots. As you can see, there's fungus in there starting. There's things crawling around. That's a really nice pocket of fungus. So all that biodynamic compost we've put on the surface has inoculated everything. And we see here the potatoes just starting to shoot out now. You've got some really nice root action happening. So that's all good. So the only other thing I've done after you guys was put tomato plugs in. And there's some more moringa. So let's go check out this other bed so you can see what the raked biomass looks like. So it's good to have grass around your production area because then you get biomass. So we've raked all the biomass up on the edge. We've got our zucchinis here, so we're probably going to have zucchinis and tomatoes in the market when nobody else is, which is good. That's what we want, that's what we're aiming for. And potatoes and that slowly popping up. That's what they're going to start to look like. It's these guys popping up slowly. Some more moringas in here somewhere. A bit of an older one. Alright, so just started to take down a little bit more biomass. It's just rough laid. So what I've done on the back of this line where there was no turmeric is I've come in and I've put tomatoes, some more purple tomatoes. I've plugged a line in all through here. Now we can see the cover crops that we threw in here before we chopped and dropped. that has started to sprout up. You can see some more there, so let's and also the response from the eucalyptus. We can see the response really coming through now. So more biomass raking, more cutting to do on this side. The cassavas are really plumped up, are looking really well. Bananas are starting to take off, so they'll come slowly. And this eucalyptus that was nearly dead because it was too much impact has now sprouted back. So he's ready to go again. He's ready to charge. All the yarrows are looking really good. You can see all the cover crops here. Now if we go into the residue here, it's nice and deep. Humus starting to form. Things happening in there. So this line basically only had that tiny little bit of hay where you could still pretty much see the soil. So the covering's going really well. This banana's opened up really nicely. This eucalyptus back here, that's all new. Yarrow underneath, plumped up. You've got the turmerics and the cassavas going really well. This eucalyptus here's putting on some really nice growth. We've got the ice cream beans underneath, some more eucalyptus putting on this fresh growth. Now these sun hemps are starting to re-sprout, so I will actually get another cut. So I'll grow them out and get another cut, and we can have a look at that now up the end. But let's just try and find an ice cream bean. So that one's probably got a little bit sunburnt, but not too bad, good response, he's coming back. Got the Citrodora gums giving a good response. Still need to open up some space all around him to really get him going. The turmerics, for the most part, are looking pretty good. There's a nice ice cream bean that's really loving the opening. You can see cover crops again. Now if we get in here and then around the turmeric, have another little look. There's some more turmeric actually sprouting now, so that stimulation has actually encouraged this guy to shoot out. So a lot of my turmerics in here as well were just kind of sitting here because I didn't irrigate too much. Look, I'm not a big fan of irrigation, especially at this stage. I'm trying to generate the most hardiest seed I can possibly generate. So I'm wanting to put as much pressure on these turmerics as I can and increase the phytochemical content. So we really want to get some medicinal compounds happening here. So overall pretty good. Some more cassavas there. This is what I've got to manage, so there's still a little bit to manage. And this is what the re-sprout looks like, a little bit further down the track. So we can see it denses up quite well. And the turmerics under there are actually really enjoying that surge. They've had that biomass and now they've had a nice shady cover. Now I'll take you in the ginger and turmeric bed now. And we'll have a look at the turmerics down there that are really loving life. So we can see here the turmerics are a lot bigger. I spent a little more soil prep on this, a bit more wood chip on top and that, but you can see the density in there and they're huge, they're loving life. Really got this little canopy of the sun hemp going on. So I'm actually just about to cut that and open all that up, get it back to the soil. We can see, so I've started to do this side and break the biomass into the line. And I've also opened up, planted a couple more bananas and all this residue. So I'm really happy with this line because, as I said, this line wasn't mulched in the beginning. It was pretty much bare soil. It had these bananas, cedars, pigeon peas and that in there. So I'm happy that on the second cut, the first cut we just covered the soil. Now the second cut we're focusing material around the individual species. But all of this matter has come just from growing out those weeds. So all in-house produced matter. And look at that soil. It's really rich. It's got the most amazing aromas. See the tillage radishes are starting to sprout up. Now this line is ready. I'm blocking out the bananas. I'm getting a lot more bananas in here. So I've got some trunks to cut for the market garden and we convert it. But now I'm going to come through and put my fruiting species in here. So custard apples, citruses, sourshops, sapotes. These can all go into this. Now the soil's up to par. So that's about it, guys. Now just brush cutting down this area. market garden area, getting ready to start converting it back into crops and focus on it. So you can see the pigeon peas are forming this beautiful microclimate. It's really cool in here, transpiring, and it's going to give us a lot of little micro niches to produce lettuces in the middle of summer. And these are short-lived trees, so keep that in mind. So we will be planting Lucina seeds at the bottom of them, but overall it's mainly just biomass management during the rain, focusing on getting it down, focusing on sending the pulses in, catching all that water and getting some good reactions. Let's just dig in here, get a handful deep. Look at that. So we've got our Morpheus on top, starting to soften everything up, starting to travel in. We're getting some good structure, some nice earthy aromas. So there you go, guys. Nice long video, but hopefully it gives you an idea of what's going on in the rain. Look at all that. Look at that. We got our mushrooms popping in. So everything's happy.